All right, welcome back to Corona Geek, here where we talk all about cross-platform app development using Corona SDK. I'm your host, Charles McKeever, and we've got a great panel today. We've got Dr. Brian Burton down in Abilene joining us.
Hello.
Also, we've got Ed Marino from roaminggamer.com.
Hey, yo.
And we've got Stephen Johnson from ZibalbaStudios.com.
I didn't do it.
I know. I'm still leaving the gap. I didn't say Dr. Burton's website, burtonsmediagroup.com. You can go check him out there. He does have a great book. We were talking about that just a minute ago. You want to check that out because he keeps it updated all the time. Anytime there's a major update, he has updated it, and everybody who bought the book gets it pretty much for free. I guess you can. I don't want to say free because it sounds like it'll always, forever be free, but
for the time being, I'm going to continue the model.
Yeah. So lots of good bennies there. Does anybody? We're gonna get back into our desktop development series. We are 9 episodes in now, creating a desktop game. We've done everything from keyboard and mouse inputs to putting players on the screen to shooting zombies and doing tiled backgrounds. Today we're supposed to do pickups and traps, I believe, is our topic.
Right, we're going to do pickups and traps, and I'll let the other cats out of the bag in a second.
So if you haven't already, you can go over to youtube.com/coronageek. There is a playlist there that has all of the videos in it, and there are links in every one of the videos to show notes, and in those show notes are links to the code. You can download the source code and follow along. There is a version history sort of on GitHub if you want to go back to a particular version of the repo. You can go look at that, but you can basically download the full source code and play the game. Look at what we're looking at. So if you have any questions, go back and watch the previous episode on that particular topic so that you can get up to speed. Anybody have any announcements before we start? No? Ed's shaking his head, no?
Well, I wish I had announcements.
Since we mentioned the book, I am working on an update to it now, so I'm taking suggestions, or if you found a bug or there's a problem, please send me a quick email and I'll be happy to make those adjustments so that it's included in this next revision of the book. I'm also looking at including patron accounts to go with it, so that those who've been enjoying the book for some time, one book's been out there since 2011, the other one's came out last year. If somebody wants to buy me a cup of coffee, I'll be more than happy to accept it through there. So I'll be passing that out sometime within the next couple of weeks.
You know, I think the Patreon thing would be great. It would be a great way for people to buy the book and then continue to fund its maintenance and development, because if you buy a book off the shelf in the bookstore, it's done. There's no future updates unless you buy the book again.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a great way to go.
Yeah, you could do just an idea here. You could do you got different patron levels. You could do a patron level, whatever it is you want to sell the book for. So the regular price of the book. Mm-hmm. And if they're a patron at that level, they get the book for that month. But then maybe people will be like, oh, okay, good, I got the book, and they can adjust back to just no money, or they give you some like a buck a month. But you can make the deal, instead of everybody getting a free upgrade, you can only get a free upgrade if you're an existing patron with the book.
Right. Yeah. So you have a one-time investment. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Where you one-time investment where you
all I have to do is commit to this one-time thing, but for an extra 99 cents,
you get updates
or whatever.
Of course, you pretty spoiled everybody by doing here. You get updates anyways, but now we're talking new customers.
Yeah. New customers. Yeah, you can have
new customers shift in the system, and yeah.
And then you can have
$1 a month, and you get the free updates every.
Yeah, then you can have stretch goals, just like with the.
Oh yeah.
Crowdfunded
new
stuff.
chapters and.
Right. I think we're kind of sounding like we're joking, but I think it's
around a little bit. But you could do that.
I think it's valid, for sure. Well, if nobody else has any other announcements, I will mention that there was a blog post went up last week announcing Corona Ads private beta. So if you haven't seen that already, go over to coronalabs.com/blog, and there is a blog post there on December 11th that talks all about it. There's a form that you can fill out and get on the list, and I think that's something that you should do. Also, if you haven't seen the interview that we did with Raj, there are over 800 views on the video between the Corona Labs and Corona Geek channels. We put it on both, and that was a good interview. It was about 24 minutes long. Raj answers a bunch of community questions, everything that came from the forums and from blog posts and emails and stuff like that. So go check that out. That's on the blog as well. And, of course, we'll put links in the show notes directly to everything as well, so you can go right to it. And then the other exciting thing is that tvOS and desktop's getting close to being out of beta. At least the OS 10 is, and I'm pretty sure Win32 is right behind it. And then tvOS is all the pieces and bits and pieces are coming together for tvOS. So like iCloud support, being able to put image assets, being able to put icons in, having top shelf images, all that stuff like that. So that's all coming along as well. So you can read about that. There's actually a tutorial on the blog on how to add icons top shelf and launch images for tvOS. So if you're kind of into that thing, you got something over the week or over the holidays you want to experiment with, this would be a good time to do it. Hey, there's Sergey. Well, Ed, do you want to
launch?
Yeah, kick us off.
I'm ready to launch. Let me switch over to my desktop.
I'm okay. You're Jodie Foster in Contact. I'm okay to go. I'm okay. Do you remember that movie?
It's a bit old for some of your audience.
Wow. You think so? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. I do think so.
Are you kidding? It's on Netflix.
Jodie Foster, who's that?
Yeah, Jodie Foster. These days it's on. There's Netflix. You can just Google it. Just search it. Just Siri it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the rundown on what I put in here, and I'm going to give you a summary of what we're going to cover today. We're going to do kind of a sprint like we did last week, but we're going to cover the important parts. Okay,
this is getting fancy looking.
Say again?
This is getting fancy looking.
It's as fancy as it's going to get, and after this, people have to modify it to their own heart's content. This is all you get. There's a little more here. You can't quite see it all. What was I going to say? So this is week 10. Week 11, that's going to be it. If I have my say, and I will, my say is that next week is the last week on this game. And just as a teaser, what we're going to look at next week is we will look at joystick inputs instead of keyboard. I will hook that up and show you how to do it. And then I will give you a quick overview of the entire game in terms of just a review of a document, which I haven't quite finished, which people will be able to use. And the way the document is set up is you'll be able to, it'll have screenshots in it, and then it'll have highlighted sections. For example, like let's say the player is highlighted, and then it'll have references to the different bits of code that you have to look at to understand that particular thing you're seeing. So if you want to see how the HUDs work, you find the page in the document where the HUDs are shown, and then it'll give you file names and perhaps functions, etc., that you need to take a look at to understand how that bit of code is working. So having said that, this week's additions are a very basic HUD background. I realized that we had these HUDs last week, but when I introduced some new features, you couldn't read them anymore. Sounds. We now have a series of sounds. You won't be able to hear them. That's the unfortunate thing with Google Play. But we've got sounds for the zombies, arrow firing, and a background music track. This uses the same code that we used in previous games, so I'm not going to go through it other than just to point out where it is at. It's very simple in terms of how it is used. So if you're confused at all, go back to our old shows, or wait for the document from next week where I will have a section about sound, and you can just look at the document. It'll take you to the right code and show you what's going on. In addition to that, you can see my screen, yes. I have added the forest border. So you'll recall previously we had a red area around the no-go. So once you got to the edge of the red box, you couldn't move anymore. That is still true, but there's no red box, there's no red border. Instead, what I've done is given, let me see if I can get a little closer here without getting killed. I have given randomly generated forest area around the play zone. And the benefit of this is twofold. One, it delineates where you can and cannot go. It makes it a little more logical. And also, it hides the zombies as they're coming in. So you don't want to be right up against the edge of the forest because you're not going to see death before it gets to you. So we'll demonstrate that a little later on a higher level.